We've gone from talking about a big rock that landed in the Sahara Desert that came our way from the planet Mars. And we're now going to talk to something that's a little more close to home, and that is 10 funeral trends in 2025. As I have said, my guest is Paul Freed. He's an expert on end of life planning, founder of the Made the Arrangements, I Made the Arrangements, a website that helps people plan their own funerals. Paul, I've often said to people that none of us got out of this place alive. So all of us have to at some point think about that, except for the Lord Jesus, who in my religion we believe died and rose from the dead. But everyone else has to think about how they want to spend eternity. And there are 10 funeral trends in 2025, some of which I had never heard of. Want to hit a couple of them. The green burial is one that I think most people understand. Tell us how that works.
So, people are, of course, ecologically minded, and so there are a number of trends within, the green. You can, the course can be turned into a pod and turned into a tree. You can be planted. That's just one of many.
You wait a sec. You can be turned into a tree. Is that
you could?
How does that work?
And you're buried in burlap with seedlings and.
Oh, I got it. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So it's interesting because look, historically, right, this has been a very taboo subject, right,
Yes.
And people avoid talking about this as if it were contagious.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, right, this is a life cycle event. What we see now is you've got the Gen Xers and the millennials that are really changing that narrative. If you look at some of the podcasts that are out there, some of these end of life influencers and the followings that they have, it's really amazing. We set out to develop a website that tried to lighten up this very dark topic.
Sure.
But today, people are leaning more towards the celebration, right? So, kind of focusing on that life as opposed to mourning the loss. So you're seeing a lot of themed memorials. You're seeing costume requests, right? People are dressing up in Hawaiian shirts and superhero gear. And people are starting to kind of have some fun with it. Untraditional venues, things you didn't see before, certainly with cremation being quite favorable these days. You can take an urn and you can go anywhere, and people are steering away from kind of the sterile funeral home.
Sure.
And they're going to the beaches, they're going to the parks, they're going to restaurants, to breweries. People are spending time planning this, right? They're putting together playlists and really personalizing it. And
Well, here's one that, and again, I know we got 10 to talk about here, so I'm going to try to get to a couple specific. People can be cremated and turned into jewelry, a diamond. I'd never heard of that.
Pretty interesting. So, yes, people are opting for that. And there are a lot of vendors out there that are providing these services. You may have seen, you can take your ashes, you can get packed into fireworks, and you can put on a fireworks display. There's actually a company in Alabama, of course, where they'll pack your ashes into shotgun shells.
I was thinking to myself, if I ever was cremated, I would want some of my ashes to be spread around the infield at Fenway Park, I'd always be close to the Red Sox. There was one here that struck me, and I'm trying to get. There was one where people could be turned into soil, and literally soil, and you could, dust to dust, I guess, but dirt to dirt.
Yeah, I know a fella in New Jersey who, he has a business where he'll take your ashes and dump them out at sea, and it was a little side hustle that he started just to offset the cost of his boat, and it's turned into big business now, and they get ashes from all over the world, and they'll go out and they'll plot it and they'll send a certificate with the grid coordinates of exactly where the ashes were buried.
Wow.
So it's almost endless now. And it's really encouraging. Listen, your funeral is the last impression you're going to make on your loved ones. Right? Why not personalize this a bit?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, just coming back to this one, the diamond. Normally, in order to make a diamond, and I don't know a lot about diamonds, it takes a long time for, I guess, a piece of coal to become a diamond. How? It's a long and expensive process. It says taking about a year from start to finish. However, the result is a genuine diamond for you that you can keep as a memorial piece forever. Are there people who are actually doing this, or is this still in the theoretical stage?
No, there are a lot of people doing it, and if you Google the topic, you'll find jewelers throughout the land that are providing these services. It's become a thing for sure.
Wow. Is part of the reason for this? Is part of the reason for this that we're starting to run out of cemetery space?
I don't know and can't speak to that. I think that people are aware of this, and one of the reasons that cremation is becoming much more popular. People are very much aware of the land that cemeteries are taking up. Yep. But people want they want the ashes at home. They want to keep that memory around as long as they can. People aren't going out to visit cemeteries anymore. It's it's a difficult thing. So you've seen the reefs that they're building, right? You can turn your ashes into rocks, and you can bury them at sea, and they're building these reefs now out of these rocks that are made out of people's ashes.
Wow. I can tell you this. I have the ashes of my dog, Charlie, who died 15 years ago, sitting in the room that I'm broadcasting from. A nice mahogany urn or whatever, a container with his picture on the front of it. So, yeah, I'm there with you in many respects.
Yeah, I find it encouraging. I mean, this shouldn't be a dark topic. This should be humanized, and I'm encouraged by a lot of the things that we're seeing.
All right, Paul, your website is I Made the Arrangements. Is that the website?
That is IMadeTheArrangements.com, and it's a comprehensive site where you can go in and take care of all your end of life planning. We can. And
you work with the people who get in contact with you.
Absolutely.
Paul, appreciate you taking the time tonight and talking about a subject which is not the most comfortable subject to talk about. I'd rather be talking about rocks coming through the atmosphere from Mars. But hey, maybe at some point in the future,
you're talking about it.
Yeah, no, but I'm sure that in the future they'll be able to encapsulate people and send them maybe in rocket ships to Mars or to the moon and to spend
Probably sooner than you think
on the lunar surface. I'm sure. I'm sure. Paul, thank you very much. Appreciate it very much. We'll talk again. Thank you. All right.